And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. If you're an American, whatever the case may be, hopefully you had a good 4th of July weekend, Independence Day, whether you want to try not to go too much into a rant on the facts of Independence Day and the original 13 colonies of the United States for America. People don't realize the facts behind the creation of the United States for America. And yes, I'm saying it correctly. People don't understand that those so-called colonialists, you can call them that, really, they're just refugees. They were just looking for a new land and stuff. The Turtle Island, United States of America land, whatever you want to call it. The old world has known about it. Old world, parts of Africa, Europe, Asia, they knew about this land. People have been coming to North America and South America for thousands of years before Christopher Columbus even went to the Caribbean islands. There's tons of civilizations and tribes and fucking pyramids, all types of stuff, giants. And these are facts. These are facts that you won't get on the Smithsonian's channel or whatever. History Channel used to tell you shit like this, but then they kind of hide it too now. But these are facts or whatever about the situation. So when you talk about Independence Day in the United States of America, some people talk about slavery. Once again, slavery in America was not just based on skin color. Slavery is a form of employment. It's been practiced throughout human history. Still is practiced today. You just gotta get over it. You gotta pay attention to facts. Facts over feelings. Don't care who you are. It's just the facts of the situation. So we're talking about Independence Day in the United States of America. What you're talking about is those nations, or those 13 British colonies, because they left, right? They were kind of refugees, but trying to get away from the British Crown, but the British Crown still was like, oh no, you guys still owe us taxes, stuff, wherever the case may be. And then you had those indigenous people, the native people of Turtle Island, the local population. Some of them wanted to come in and they welcomed the refugees, the people on Plymouth Rock, where you want to call them. They welcomed them. And I'm not saying this, look back in history, look at the peace treaties. All different treaties throughout American history that, predate United States of America, predate 1776. Tribes, local tribes, having treaties with settlers and all the other people that come into America. So like that, trade agreements. It's always about economy. It's always about money and resources. That's what it's always about. What it always will be about. That's it. That's it. Everything else is just distraction. Everything else is just something just to make people feel good or feel some type of way. So that's just my little quick rant on Independence Day. I mean, every day is Independence Day to me because I'm free in the mind, free in the consciousness as I explore my consciousness and continue to become more aware of the reality and the situation I live in, this big ass computer simulation, what you call life, human experience, it's all the same thing. It's all different perspectives. So that's just my own personal opinion on it and stuff. But like I said, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you has barbecued or whatever, did some fireworks and whatnot, and had a good old grand time. Meanwhile, while all that shit was going on, the cyber attacks happened. And we've been talking about it for a while on this channel about cyber attacks. Cyber attacks is a thing, right? Like, these cyber attacks happen often, actually, but we don't really hear too much about it as far as cyber attacks are crippling to networks, because any IT security job, analyst, wherever, systems administrator, network administrator, their job is to prevent these cyber attacks, or not prevent these cyber attacks, but I can't think of a good word. Really, you want to have a good reaction to them. So you want to be proactive because you know they're going to happen. You just want to make sure they don't bring down a whole network or destroy your network or get into multiple network or servers or anything like that, or get close to any sensitive or classified data within your network. That's all you're trying to do in cyber attacks. Minimize the damage. There we go. That's a phrase. I was like, what did I learn? What is that phrase I learned in school? Minimize the damage. Don't overthink it, right? You ain't got to know exactly how to do all this stuff. Just use your brain. It's not that hard. It's don't overthink it. you can't prevent everything. What you can do is try to minimize the damage or any possible collateral damage. So what I want to talk about is a recent major attack that happened. But before I get into that, I want to show you guys this map. It's for those on the audio version of the podcast. I'm on threatmap.checkpoint.com. I just looked up cyber maps or cyber attacks. A map of cyber attacks. Oh, god damn, that was hard. Mondays, right? So my thing is, I remember seeing this in school. My professor, my teacher, showed me this and showed us how many attacks were going on all the time and stuff. So here's the map that shows you different types of attacks. You have malware, which is in red, phishing, which is in purple, and then exploit, which is in yellow. Exploit meaning you're exploiting the code or some of the softwares, any vulnerabilities, any security vulnerabilities, any slight holes in someone's security coding and stuff like that. That's what you're exploiting. You see a lot happens in gamers. Playing video games online and stuff like that. People like you see they call it glitches, but really you're just exploiting an exploit in the coding in the system. And then you have phishing, which is like your email and stuff, whatever. You're just throwing out like a rod, literally. It's just like you're just throwing out something like a trap, and you're seeing how much you can catch or whatever. What will happen? Then malware, that's like your viruses and stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, I still get confused on the verbiage and stuff because it's like, whatever, man. It's one slight little difference, and all of a sudden it's a whole different word for it. But anyways. So the screen is showing a bunch of Trojan horses. I'm reading it on the side here. It shows you it's happening really fast too. It's like, when I say fast, it's like seconds, like actually milliseconds. But you see attacks coming from the United States. Like central United States. God damn, where is that? I want to say Colorado or something, some data center or some hub somewhere. Things come out of Washington D.C. See on the East Coast. Attacks coming out of the United States. A lot of cyber attacks coming out of the United States, and then things going to the United States and going back and stuff, and back Russia going back and forth. You see Belgium, Colombia, Mexico. Some just went out to Japan, and it's all in real time. So just to kind of give you an idea, here on the side it says the top targeted countries, highest rate of attacks per organization in the last day. You have Nepal, Mongolia, Bolivia, Taiwan, and Indonesia. The top targeted industries: education, government, communications. Makes sense, right? Because that sounds like something you would go after. If I want to affect a country, a nation, you gotta understand, this is all just war, just war games. It's all games. It's not necessarily an intent to deliberately bomb and destroy and blow up people. Like, we all know we can't have that type of war. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that you can't just go around dropping bombs on everybody. Because one, you ain't trying to fuck up the planet. Two, you ain't trying to fuck up the resources in that land. What you're trying to do is destabilize the nation, move in, and then infiltrate one way or another. You want to take it over and integrate it into your own governing body and whatnot. You got to think of it in that manner. People are just trying to take over and stuff. And this is all business too. All these attacks going on, guess what? All it does is makes more people have more IT security. I don't know. How about you do a LLC, create your own IT security company, or you have a venture capitalist putting money into IT security company. Oh yeah, see all these attacks that's happening in your system? Don't worry, we'll help you out. But guess what? If they'd have planned those attacks and stuff and set that shit up, now you're paying them for something that they did to you already. You just didn't know they did it to you. And you say that's crazy, but it's actually brilliant because you deal with people that don't really have the same moral values and character as a lot of us do. Governments and people around the world, corporations, they're shady because their end goal is profits, resources, economy, control. By any means. There's no rules. There's no laws. People do wherever the fuck they want to do. You gotta understand that. We, the regular people, think there's rules and laws and government that we're afraid to go on. But there's groups of people and industries and corporations around this world where they're like, fuck it. We'll do wherever we want, whenever we want, however we want. FBI, CIA, do whatever they want. MI6, is it MI6, MI5, Russian intelligence, doesn't matter. Israeli intelligence, Mossad, all these different, like we know these things. They put them in movies. Who do you think signs off the movies? All Tom Clancy movies. I just watched it the other day, Without Remorse. I was watching that, the Tom Clancy movie, and it made the CIA look good. I was like, oh, this is set up. I mean, there was some facts in the movie what they were talking about, but I'm like, wait a minute. They just made the CIA look good. Come on, bro. We know that that shit ain't right. But guess what? Who signed off on the movie? The CIA. You think you're finna have the CIA in a movie, and they're not gonna sign off on it, and they're not gonna say, hey, yeah, you can put that in the movie? Come on, man. Use your brain. It's all propaganda. It's all trying to convey a message or whatever. But I wanted to look at this because if you go click on the country, it will show you, like I clicked on the United States, it says attack trend in the last 30 days. A lot of it is banking Trojans. So let you know where they're going after, banking. 1.2%. Botnet is 3.5%. Crypto miner is 0.5%. Mobile is 0.3%. And ransomware is 0.7%. So money. Money. I didn't get no clearer than that, huh? Didn't get any clearer than that. Cryptocurrencies, right? It is funny because all these things are obsolete. They're obsolete anyways because of quantum computers. Quantum computers can hack to anything within seconds. Actually, I think seconds might be a little too long. It might be nanoseconds because it works on the quantum realm, the quantum level. Excuse me. So you have all these different attacks going on and stuff, and I just find it interesting that I wanted to put into context more or less, because yes, there are attacks going on in the world and cyber attack stuff, but they're always happening, right? There's always some type of attack, and it doesn't necessarily have to be huge, right? Like a lot of these attacks and stuff in foreign countries on foreign soil, stuff like that, they happen all the time in the news. You just don't realize it because they don't call it that. Building goes down here, right? A car explosion there, right? A bank robbery here. Oh, but you don't see it as that because we keep waiting for someone to come on TV and tell us, oh, yes, this is what that was. We should all know by now. They all lie to us. And and sometimes I think people probably think I'm completely crazy because I'm like, oh, they're lying about this or they're lying about that. But if you pay attention and you listen enough and you continue to pay attention over a long period of time, you'll see the trends, you'll see the patterns. You'll notice a lot of it just seems a little too coincidental. It never makes sense. I haven't talked much about that condo in Miami falling over in Surfside, Florida, but Surfside, Florida, funny name. But anyways, the building just collapsed on itself. Right? Now, I'm skeptical. I'm sorry. I'm skeptical. I don't care. You call me crazy, call me paranoid, but I'm like, you want me to believe a building just collapsed on itself? Out of nowhere, just collapsed on itself. And then they start coming out with these stories, these narrative. Oh yeah, see, they've been having all these issues for the longest, and they never been updated and stuff like that. All right, cool. But you talking about complete internal collapse on itself? Now I'm no structural engineer or anything like that. I don't necessarily. I know a little bit of basics of structural design, some things like that. Material that are used and whatnot. But you're talking about a building that has withstand hurricanes, right? A building that has withstood hurricanes over these years. I don't know how long the building's been up, but pretty sure it's been up for a few years. These past couple of hurricanes, so it's withstood hurricanes, right? Then all of a sudden, it just collapsing itself. But I guess it's just a wear and tear over time. It's funny how pyramids and all these world wonders can still be standing, even though they're just bricks, stone. But our so-called modern technology can't withstand natural weather occurrences or an explosion, whatever. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. But it's kind of, there's so many things that happen in your face, but you don't really no, I take that back. You don't think twice about it. You just accept whatever narrative is told to you. That's on me. That's on all of us. It's because they're just being lazy. That's what it is. Call it for what it is. We're just lazy. We're too lazy to think. We don't want to think about those things. We want someone to tell us what it is, and that's it. We want someone to put our mind at ease. We don't want to be we don't want to deal with the uncomfortable realization that we're always being lied to. Because if we're being lied to, that means we have to figure things out on our own. And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to think. So, therefore, we're stuck in the same shitty ass situation. There you go. It is what it is, man. I just want to throw it out there. Cause I'm like, so the building collapsed, huh? And okay, building collapsed. All right, we'll go with that. And now I think they demolished the building last night because a hurricane is coming, which is now a tropical storm. I guess got downgraded. I'm just throwing it out there. Everything's suspicious to me. Everything's suspicious to me because you have to wonder, man. A lot of stuff is really manipulated. I'm coming to the realization sports are manipulated. Sure, I knew that anyways. So, to go on to today's topic, this article from Reuters. It says, major ransomware attack against U.S. tech provider forces Swedish store closures. So this happened on July 3rd. There's a few different articles out there about this, but this is one of the first ones I saw. So it says, one of the largest ransomware attacks in history spread worldwide on Saturday, forcing the Swedish Coop grocery store chain to close all 800 of its stores because it could not operate its cash registers. Oh, whoa. Can't operate its cash register, huh? Almost like cause and effect, showing you that, oh, well, see, these things went down. The cash registers, or POS, or point of sale systems, they all went down, right? Cash registers, all of that, so we couldn't have the cash on hand, and so we couldn't do any transactions. But, if we were using a phone or a QR technology for payments or some form of electronic payments or cryptocurrency like that, this wouldn't happen. See, I just set that narrative up off the first paragraph. I just set that narrative up. How rational all that sounds too, because it's already been set up. That's why it's already been set up. Because based on all the stuff that we've been talking about on this podcast recently, and the information we read and stuff, and you can see it. The narrative, it's already setting up. A story is being played out. It's like one big ass fucking movie. You just have to be, living it in real time. And it's not really it's exciting, but not really, because it's like, whoa. There's real life implications and ramifications to all this that affects our lives. It says the shutdown of the major food retailer followed Friday's unusually sophisticated attack on U.S. tech provider Kaseya, Kasea. The ransomware gang known as Revil or REVI, I don't know how you're supposed to say that, is suspected of hijacking Kaseya's desktop management tool VSA and pushing a malicious update that infect tech management providers serving thousands of businesses. So I guess we have an IT company, because a lot of stuff is outsourced to just IT companies. Some companies don't even have a direct IT. Yeah, they don't even have a direct IT in their building. They just have outsourced as third party. They might have a few people working in the building or offices itself, but for the most part, it's outsourced. Huntress Labs, one of the first to sound the alarm of the wave of infection at the provider's claims. At the provider's client said Saturday that thousands of small companies might have been hit. So all this is going on, huh? All these cyber attacks stuff. And they didn't really talk about it, right? I haven't really seen no major publications too much about it. Haven't seen things, excerpts from like CNN or, different things that people share on social media, as far as Twitter and Gab is the only two ones that I'm on. I guess YouTube, I don't really call that social media. But you haven't really heard too much about it. While you're sitting there watching Joey Chestnut, break the world record on eating hot dog stuff, which I literally sat there and watched. I don't know why I watched that shit. And I watched that for a few years, man. Like, every time it's on, I just happen to sit there and watch it. watch a man stuff a bunch of fucking hot dogs in his face. Don't know why. We're humans, man. We do some wild shit. None of that makes sense. I keep telling y'all, man. We're in a computer simulation. It's a video game. None of this shit makes sense. We just make it up as we go. But, you know, it doesn't seem like it had big publication. It didn't seem like it was big in the media cycle, even though it should be, right? I mean, this is huge, right? Cause it's like over 200 companies. Man, I thought I had it in this headline. Wait a minute. Come on. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm talking about. This is shit what I'm talking about. Like, why shit keeps seeming like it's just a coincidence. I was just talking about the Miami condo building. It was in Surfside, Florida, or whatever. Which I guess like out, you know, one of those small towns outside of Miami, whatever, or the so-called city limits of Miami. So the Kaseya company, or wherever, however you say it, they're Miami based. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, like that's not odd to anybody. Now it makes me want to think, wait a minute, are there any employees that lived in that building, in that condo that died? Or went missing? Right? It's always in the details that get overlooked. And you would, God, that's kind of, sometimes people don't draw those connections, but I'm like, whoa, this company that got hit by a ransomware attack and affected all the other companies because of their IT security company, IT software company, whatever. And it's in Miami. Like, I don't like what do you say about that shit, man? Like, for real, what do you say? It's in Miami, right? I ain't brought up Miami. I wasn't even meaning to bring up. I've been thinking about this Miami thing for a while. Well, now I'm gonna do a episode on it or not, but I just wanted to mention it, and I just happened to mention it in today's episode as I talk about this, which I didn't know. And I want to say that's a coincidence because I did not do this intentionally. But damn it, it makes you wonder, was it done intentionally? I mean, you know, out of my control. Did I not know it? Are we being manipulated on an individual level? But that goes into, you know, does free will actually exist or not? I don't even want to go down that route. It said, okay, so they said they were working with the FBI and that only about 40 of its customers were impacted directly. It did not comment on how many of these providers that in turn spread the malicious software to others. In a statement late on Saturday, the FBI said it was investigating in coordination with the U.S. Security and Infrastructure, U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. The fuck? That's the name of it? That sounds U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. It's like, is that redundant? Just saying the same thing twice? Whatever. So, you know, it says some experts said the timing of the attack on Friday before a long U.S. holiday weekend was aimed at spreading it as quickly as possible while employees were away from the job. Well, no shit. Like you said, it's not. If you were gonna do an attack, you would do it over the holiday weekend as well, too, right? Makes sense, right? I was watching that movie Money Heist. Guys, he was talking about Liam Neeson's character was saying, "Oh, he would rob the banks over a long holiday weekend." No shit. That makes the most sense. It's not that complicated, man. So if you can think that, then that means someone needs to be prepared for that, right? And it makes you wonder: is everyone just completely, is everyone a complete fucking moron, or, you know, somebody? Sometimes people let things slide for whatever reason they got going on. Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. You don't know what people's reasons are. I mean, usually it's money, but it is what it is. Let's see. One of Sweden's biggest grocery chains use a tool. So it talks about how it affected Sweden and stuff. But it's a Miami-based company, but why? That's what I really want to know. When this article, why is it talking about Sweden? Are they the only ones who really come out and say something? It says the Swedish news agency TT said Kaseya technology was used by the Swedish company Visma Eskom, which manages servers and devices for a number of Swedish businesses. See how everything happens behind the scenes? You think one company does everything within its own company, but no, they just contract another company, and that company contracts another company. And you notice all these corporations work together. Has anybody noticed that? All these corporations work together. They buy up each other and they connect with each other through the back end systems or front end systems, wherever you want to call it. It's always behind the scenes amongst their different networks. And not just we're talking about IT or just we're not even just talking about the technology infrastructure of these companies' networks, but partnerships, agreements. Hey, you run this product for me. I'll put this product listed for you. All types of partnerships, like they all work hand in hand, right? There's more interoperability and more connectivity amongst these global corporations than there are human beings. So when it comes to money and business, we all work together on a fundamental level, right? But when it comes to us regular people, we all hate each other because we need a villain, right? You're white, I'm black, or whatever. Some bullshit like that. Like, you're this religion, I'm that religion. Oh, I don't like you because you walk a certain way. I don't like you. But meanwhile, these corporations, these banks, these governments all work together. They're the real enemies, right? We need villains, right? They're the real villains because they're the one doing things without our permission. But guess whose fault it is? It's our fault. So we let it happen. Man, these attacks keep happening and stuff, right? So there's another article here. So that was from July 3rd. This is from July 5th, early this morning, also on Reuters. It says no contact from Washington over latest ransomware attack, Kremlin says. So all of a sudden, it went, you see, and I'm showing those two separate articles from one media outlet, a major global media outlet that considers themselves in the middle, no leaning left nor leaning right, yet it went from a malware attack that affected a couple hundred companies, wherever the case may be. It didn't say the number in the article. I got a number from another article that I don't have on here. But you have all these attacks and stuff, wherever malware being sent out and stuff like that, and affect these Swedish businesses. And all of a sudden, we're blaming Russia for it because of the REVIL, REVIL, wherever you say that, because of them, because they've been suspected of doing it. And then they do some other attacks as well. So these people are so sophisticated, they can't be caught, even though these hackers keep getting caught, and again, with their ransomware, because they've been tracking Bitcoin. So, but I guess it's just a multi-group cell or whatever, something like that. You see where I'm going with all this? You see where I'm going? No one wants to sit down and ask these questions. And these reporters don't actually do no real fucking investigative journalism, because if they did, they'll be like, wait a minute. I mean, is this group really that big? Like, what's going on here? So in the article, it says Russia has not had any contact from the United States over a sophisticated ransomware attack that hit hundreds of American businesses and led to suspicions of Russian gang involvement. The Interfax news agency cited the Kremlin as saying on Monday. See how much information has just changed just in a couple of days? It went from affecting Swedish businesses now to hitting hundreds of American businesses. From July 3rd to July 5th, all this has been going on. Meanwhile, you probably been sitting at home eating your hot dogs and watching fucking Netflix. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. Security firm Huntress Labs said on Friday it believed the Russia-linked REVIL ransomware gang was to blame for the attack, which we just read in the previous article. And it says President Joe Biden has directed U.S. intelligence agencies to investigate. Almost like a precursor for war. Almost just like what was in that Without Remorse movie. I'm not to spoil the plot for you, but yeah, it kind of tries to set up a precursor for a war. We always need a villain, right? It's always good to have a villain be in the other country. It's either someone in the other country or someone within our country where, you're poor goes against the rich, white goes against black, even though nobody's white or black, doesn't matter. Logic has been left the fucking building and not the rapper. Rationale means nothing to anybody on this fucking planet. Because if it did, we'll all stop what we're doing in an instant and work together and create a better society. And I'm not talking about utopia, because utopia doesn't exist and it shouldn't exist. We need conflict. We need to go at each other. Because we need that conflict. Because out of conflict comes better and brighter ideas and arrangements and agreements. So we need that conflict. You need the chaos. Chaos out of order. God damn it, not to be a Freemason or whatever, a cultist, but I mean they're right, man. Chaos out of order. Like that's how we work as human beings. But all this been going on and stuff, and then you gonna blame Russia? Oh, it's Russia. I'm only 34 years old, but my whole life all I've been hearing is Russia, 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 Russia. Yet I have yet to see any credibility of actual evidence saying that Russia did something. It came at the end of the Cold War, I guess, but what are we talking about here? Right? It's always something. It's always some imaginary villain. It's always somebody. Yet we all should be mad at our own governments. I mean, it doesn't get no more villainous than that, does it? People that think they can run and control people's lives, thinking that they know what's best for you, them telling you not to go outside because they don't want you to get sick. Like, if I told you you can't go outside right now because you will get sick, you'll call me fucking crazy and you'll be ready to beat my ass. Yet the government comes on TV and says shit, everyone says okay. Yet I'm the crazy one, right? I mean, go ahead. Put logic behind it. Because there is none. It's all emotions. Because if you're afraid of the government, well, guess what? That's emotional. Not logical. What is there to be afraid of? What are they going to do? Drop a nuclear bomb on you? I mean, let's be honest. What are they going to do? Are they really going to drop a nuclear bomb on you? Nah. They're not going to do that. Will they find a way to kill you personally? Yeah. But I mean, anytime they go to kill somebody, we kind of know it still seems suspicious, you know. Just saying. Just saying. But it goes on to say Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed to begin consultations on cybersecurity issues during a summit in Geneva on June 16, with Biden warning consequences of ransomware attacks emanating from Russia continue to proliferate. Russia has repeatedly denied carrying out or tolerating cyber attacks. I mean, if I'm looking at this map, this threat map, I see a lot of attacks going to Russia. Not necessarily anything coming back. Actually, a whole shitload just came out of Silicon Valley in California. It just says California, but you know it's got to be Silicon Valley. And it's all going Ukraine, Turkey, and some of Russia. Probably going to aim towards Moscow. Yep. Hell, they did attacks within themselves. And some of these things don't have to, it could just be tests as well. I mean, being attacked, but it could just be testing out systems as well, too. There's so many things behind it. You know, there's a lot of different things behind it. I shouldn't say so many, but because don't make it more confusing than what it is. It's not. And sometimes, you know, somebody might think, well, I'm oversimplifying a lot of things. Well, you have to. In order to understand something, you got to break it down in its most simplistic form, because that's how it was originated to begin with. Nothing starts out as complex. It starts out as small, and then it goes bigger. And as it gets bigger, it seems to be more complex, but it's really just a built upon foundation of those fundamental basic principles, and you just keep building upon it and building upon it and building upon it. So it's not complex, it's just that you don't know where it originally started from. You know, you're just looking back instead of looking ahead. And in the sense of how we perceive things in our mind and stuff. And then I was watching, what was I watching? I was watching YouTube. Guys talk about XRP. I think his name is Extra VOD. Yeah, I guess it's video on demand. I don't know, but that's his YouTube channel. And it was talking about cyber attacks. And those of us in the into these cryptocurrency stuff, we've been talking about cyber attacks and potential collapse, financial collapse because through cyber attack. The whole narrative, because if you follow the money, you realize it's all manipulated and everything. The world is a stage, and seems like everything's a setup. Kind of depressing when you think about it, but whatever. But he brought this up, and I wasn't even shocked. I was just more or less like, of course. Now, this is on the World Economic Forum.org, which we know subsidiary of the United Nations, which we know those so-called people care about the world, and we know they don't. They got the 17 goals that they want to complete by 2030. I'm pretty sure the majority of the world don't even fucking know about that. And that's a crime shame, man. Over here they have their partners, Banco Santander, which is also a Ripple partner, which is another connection. Visa, another Ripple partner. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So this is called Cyberpolygon. It says digitalization is accelerating everywhere. New digital ecosystems are forming all around us, creating unnoticed linkage across services and supply chains. I just wasted reading the paragraph. So Cyberpolygon. So it says Cyberpolygon is a unique cybersecurity event that combines the world's largest technical training exercise for corporate teams in an online conference featuring senior officials from international organizations and leading corporations. Now, I just said how they all work together behind the scenes, yet they all so-called attacking each other. Now, these are nations that are in United Nations that work together, all that stuff. They're sending out cyber attacks against each other. Meanwhile, they also all work together. So it's the corporations as well. So, what are we talking about here, right? What are we talking about here? And something that the guy in Extra VOD pointed out in his YouTube video, which I was thinking in anyway as well, talked about it as well. You know, everyone thinks none of this stuff, all this stuff happens out of nowhere. No, they tell you what happens. Precursors, predictive programming. They set up the narrative in movies, media outlets, newspaper clippings, stuff like that. All little small tidbits. They set it up. They set it up. Event 201. They knew they were going to do. They knew they was going to do. Oh man, it was not 9/11. Well, I can't think of it. COVID. I forgot. I haven't said the word in a long time. I forgot what. They know they were going to do COVID-19. They knew they was going to do that. They ran a whole exercise. October 2019, November is technically the first time that they heard about the virus in China. Next thing you know, it starts to spread more in China. First cases happened in January in the United States of America, February, and all of a sudden March, the world shuts down. So it didn't happen out of nowhere like we think it happened out of nowhere. Nothing happens out of nowhere. You just didn't see the shit happening. So you perceive it as, oh, this just happened out of nowhere. No. That's like the Bucks winning the Super Bowl. My sports comparison, people think, oh, that happened out of nowhere. No, they were building that team. Draft picks, free agent signings, stuff like that. They were building that team. Management coaches, they were building that team. And you're like, oh, they just came out of nowhere. No, they didn't. Nothing comes out of nowhere. Right? Other than the so-called one being God itself, the existing, or what we think, try to comprehend as God, that being just exists because it exists and doesn't exist at the same time. It just is. Right? There's no beginning and nothing. It just is. But we have a hard time wrapping our head around that because everything after that has a point and purpose and a reason. A lot of stuff is connected, man. So it says the 2021 conference discusses the key risks of digitalization and best picture for the secure development of digital ecosystems. Digital ecosystems. You know, they're talking about money. Money. The transference of money, the internet of value, the transfer of information. Not information, that's what the internet is for. The transference of or the digitalization of assets, property, certificates, deeds, ownership, things like that. That's the digital ecosystem. We see all these sci-fi movies and stuff, right? Notice how everything is digital. They've been prepping us for decades to get ready to accept a digital economy, a digital world. So everything can move faster, so we all can connect with each other on the lowest social economic levels and at the highest social economic levels, or the perception of those levels. As every year, the training brings together global businesses and government agencies to collaborate on technical exercises. The live stream draws in millions of spectators from across the world. So, millions. I never heard this shit in my life. I'm not gonna lie to you, I never heard this in my life. But I'm not surprised by it because it goes along with the script. They always do these things. Military, all we do is exercise, 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 all these possible scenarios. And then we have interjection within exercise because, hey, you never know what's going to happen. So they throw in some fucked up random thing, a scenario that could possibly happen and stuff to throw you off as in the middle of exercise, whatever. Where I was working in food service doing exercise stuff where something happens where, what happens if you lose a power generator or not power, if you lose power, do you have a generator on supply? Do you got this going? Are you ready to handle any of the things? How you going to prepare meals, stuff like that? Where I was working in a fitness center. Okay, what are you going to be able to do? Are you going to be able to keep the gym open? Or you have other equipment? How are you going to be able to keep people trained and up to date really on their fitness level and stuff like that? All these exercises, preparation, getting you ready to in case something happens, right? That's what you're always supposed to do. So if that's the case, how come when something happens, the whole world shuts down? If you have all these organizations, all this timing, these exercises, these training going to a hand, all this proactive behavior, yet when something happens, everyone seems to be reactive and act like they don't know what the fuck they were gonna do. Even though they already ran these exercise scenarios, knowing exactly what they're gonna do. See where I'm going with all this stuff? It's kind of, if you pay attention, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. Hell, you already know it doesn't make sense. Everyone knows it doesn't make sense, right? If you sit down and think about all this stuff we always talk about on the podcast, none of the shit makes sense. That's why I keep pointing out things that don't make sense. Because I just want to share my information with the world, because I know I'm not the only one that sees this shit. That it doesn't make sense. And you'd be like, oh, well, you're not expert at this, or you don't know about this, you don't know what's going on. But they tell you, right? They put in their documents. They tell you what's going on. They're prepared to handle cyber attacks. Training brings together global businesses and government agencies to collaborate on technical exercises every year. So they know. But once again, if you know, you know. Okay, so the 2020 results at 120 teams from 29 countries took part in the technical cybersecurity training in 2020. The live stream viewership reached 5 million from 57 nations. It's funny because 29 countries, yet 57 nations watched it. So some of those smaller countries are like, we know what y'all do. And that's the thing. A lot of these modern major companies, especially United States of America, is asleep, man. Let's be honest, man. American citizens are asleep. We got our head up our asses, too busy worried about Britney Spears and whoever else is going on and stuff. Although I made a point to bring that up. But you see how I correlated with that with modern day slavery, but some people don't look at it like that. They might look at it was a one-time thing. I'm telling you, this seems to be a lot more plausible. She just is not extreme case. She's just a case that you get to witness firsthand. I mean, Michael Jackson? No. Michael Jackson wasn't a slave to his contract in the music industry. Nope. All right, cool, whatever. Prince? Then he won his masters before he died. All of a sudden, he died. Just throwing it out there. Just I throw it out there. Anyways, Americans are asleep. Too busy with our head up our ass, paying attention to a lot of shit that doesn't matter. But a lot of these other smaller developing countries, well, they're not developing. They're seeing what's going on around the world. Like, hey, this is fucked up. That's probably why I get listeners from around the world, because they're looking like, hey, this is fucked up. What's going on? How come America don't know this? Americans don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care. They're too busy worried about each other's skin color and stuff. They're too worried about their sexual orientation or religious status or whatever the case may be, whether or not they're going to make money or not, whether they're going to work themselves to death. They're too worried about everything else instead of worrying about the one thing that matters the most. Why is all this shit happening? And it's the most simplest question, but yet the answer seems complicated, right? Because it's by design. There's a lot of reasons why it's happening. We just need to keep asking questions and asking questions. But we don't care about that. We don't care about it in America. We don't care about, oh man, can we go outside again? Can we go to Disney World? I want to go to Disney World. I want to go fly. Can I have a barbecue? I'm vaccinated. Can I have a barbecue? Oh, my cheese is 16 cents less than it was last year. Oh, great time to barbecue. This is shit we worry about, bro. This is ridiculous, right? You gotta laugh at it. It's ridiculous. So it says Cyberpolygon in 2021 and the different things that they're doing. It says the event will be held online on July 9th. Kind of late for it, ain't it? Are they going to discuss the recent cyber attacks? I'm gonna have to watch this shit now. Like, I never heard this about this in my life. See how much you can be paying attention to everything and still not notice majority of stuff. The things I haven't even become aware of is still like probably 1% of what's actually out there. And I accept that. I just want to know what else I don't fucking know. I'm not smart. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be intelligent. None of that shit. I'm just curious because shit don't make sense and I got some questions. That's it. Curiosity just seems to be gone. They just wiped it out of us in America. Maybe through the public education system, maybe through the entertainment industry, maybe through a lot of things. Corporations, employment, workers, employees. But for some reason, we all, as I'm speaking American terms, we just don't ask these simple questions. Where does the money come from? Where's the money going? What is money? Who determines money? Hey, why does this bank have this? Well, why does this bank not have that? Why does the bank only have 10% reserves or actual cash? Yet when I ask for my money, right, I get all these questions and stuff. I can't transfer $10,000 without somebody asking a question where I get the money from, yet the bank probably don't even have $10,000 on hand in cash. They probably don't even have my $10,000 in the bank in cash to cover it because of fractional reserve banking. Right? Basel 3, we talked about it. They don't even have the actual fucking gold. So they can say whatever they want to say, and we all sit back and leave it alone because no one questions anything. No one questions nothing. And we live in a world where no one questions anything. Yet, as a child, you'll question all this stuff. As a child, you'll be questioning all this thing. Hey, where does money come from? Hey, what is gold? How come we don't use gold no more? Hey, how come they haven't cured anything? They don't have a cure for cancer? They don't have a cure for AIDS, HIV? There's no cures for anything. Oh, we just gotta take this medication? But the medication kills you, so why would you take it? Hey, how come we have laws on this? How come I can't have a gun? How come I can't do this? How come I can't, like no one questions this stuff. They say, oh, because of the government. Oh, who's the government? You telling me the president of the United States is more important than you? And you're probably sitting there like, oh, yeah, of course he is. Because the president of the United States is one of the most powerful people in the world. Says who? Says who? If no one gives a fuck about who the president of the United States is, guess what? They have no power. We all say, we don't care. They have no power. But once again, what are they going to do? They're going to drop nuclear bombs on all of us and kill all of us? Is that a possibility? So what? There's no point of being a government and governing and ruling over people if you have no population to rule over, right? Huh. See, we don't ask these simple questions, man. I sit here and say, hey, why is there a ransomware attack affecting hundreds of companies and stuff like that over the weekend or holiday weekend, and no one said anything? No one noticed anything? Wasn't that big in the media cycle? Nothing. Nothing. Why is that? Why does no one really question these things, man? How come some of these YouTube people and these media outlets, how come they're afraid to say certain things? I'll probably never blow up. I will probably never get thousands and thousands. Well, I probably won't never get like hundreds of thousands of listeners. Nothing that, big number. Definitely will never reach 1 million. Because I'm going to say the honest facts. And I'm going to give my honest opinion. And really ask questions. Because if there are no stupid questions, then I can ask any question I want to. And you might think it's stupid. But it's still a legit question. How can you actually explain it? Then in a way that makes sense and you believe it. Ransomware attacks. All these different attacks. Huh? No, nobody's going to talk about it. This is going to pop up news articles a lot. Right? Almost like they're going to just destroy the world's economy. Oh, my fault. They did that last year. We keep thinking about market crash and stuff like this, and they already crashed, man. Crashed last year. We don't know what the actual markets are. We don't know what the actual money supply is. We don't know. They just tell us numbers and we go along with it. For all we know, everybody around the world could be completely broke. I mean, technically, all these governments are. If you have trillions of dollars in debt, you think you're ever going to pay that off? At some point, you got to default. At some point, you got to say, hey, we can't pay this shit back. We ain't paying it back. And then who you paying it back to? Central banks? Fuck them. Clearly, money is where we all agree upon it is. Where it has value, that's what we use as money. The United States dollar has no value whatsoever, yet we call it money and we all transfer it to each other like, oh, it means something. Meanwhile, it has as much value as fucking monopoly paper money. But it doesn't matter, right? We all just making this shit up. And it's in the most simplest, basic terms a child can understand. Yet, as an adult, we act like we make it more complicated. You didn't make it more complicated. You made the shit more stupid. Let's be honest. You made it more stupid. Oh, well, this has value. Oh, this, oh, you know, it's got to be this way. Or, oh, well, we can't cure cancer because of this, and that. Even though there's over like 100 different documented cures for cancer. It's like the 1800s. Right? And you say, oh, that's conspiracy theory. Is it? When pharmaceutical companies are $1 billion industries, seems like I got $1 billion, or not me, but it seems like these industries, these corporations, governments have $1 billion reasons why they will never release cures. Why would they release a cure when they get tons of money off the treatment? That's stupid. They're not doing that. Why? If I'm making billions of dollars selling you a treatment, and I know you gotta keep coming back, guess what? That's business. That's business. You didn't try to figure out what the cure was. And if you die, you die. That's life. That's reality, man. That's reality. Especially if you're a religious or spiritual person, you think there's an afterlife. I mean, what we're afraid of when we talk about death is pain. Hey, you know, I'm going down somewhere else. Let me stop. Just keep asking questions, man. Just keep trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. We're going to pay more attention to this July 9th, though, because I never in my life heard this shit. And this is wild. And I don't even know if it said when it first originated either. I wouldn't be surprised if it has been going on for a while. I can't believe this, though. This shit is wild, man. We're going to keep paying attention to these cyber attacks and whatever else is going on in the world. But it's the things that they're not talking about in the media. Things that I think are, I want to say important. To me, they're important. They have value because they're not mentioned. And the things that aren't mentioned seems to be the things that have the highest of importance. But we just never talk about it. Because we're being told not to talk about it. That Miami building collapsing. I mean, we should figure out, hey, does a building actually collapse like that? Because once again, it looks like a controlled demolition. I'm just saying. I think I seen an article on Zero Hedge with a headline saying a video surfaced of the building collapsing the parking garage first. I mean, if you want to do a demolition, it's kind of how you do it, right? You know, World Trade Center Building 7. Don't worry, that building fell on its own. I mean, my fault. It fell because of the attacks on the towers down the street. That lets you know how much Americans don't question shit. America's got to be the most asleep nation there is. Maybe not the most, because I don't even know in comparison to who else is as asleep as we are in America. Even as we think we're being woke and awakened, we still got our head up our ass, not seeing nothing. Like, we're not even close, man. That includes me. We're not even close to understanding what is actually going on in the world and stuff. We're not even close. We think we have a clue. Shit, we ain't got no fucking clue. And not to sound all, you know, doomy and gloomy, but facts, man. Just being honest. Doesn't mean we can't pull our head of our ass and, you know, see what's going on. I was about to say see the sunlight, but shit. Is that actually sunlight you're looking at? You don't fucking know. You don't know. I guess Jeff Bezos is gonna go up to into space and tell us exactly what he sees. Yeah, I'm finna trust his fucking footage and what he gets to see. And we're such a free world. How come I can't build a rocket ship and fly into space? And just throwing out some more questions, man. Just throwing out some more questions. What's today? Monday. Yeah, I will be back on tomorrow with a podcast. I have no idea what I'll be talking about. But I got 24 hours to figure that shit out. So until next time.